Hey everybody, this is Perch. As part of DC's All-In new announcement, in the regular DC universe, not the absolute, anyway, the DC 616, Earth 0, 1, Multiversity -14, I don't know. Anyway, in that universe, Mark Waid and Dan Mora are going to be taking over the Justice League. And Mark Waid has wanted to be on the Justice League for a long time. He also wanted to be on Superman for a long time. So here in the later stages of his career, he's getting a lot of what he wants. But anyway, he is the new flagship writer for DC in the mainline DC universe. And this reader is wondering how long can that possibly last. So let's see what they say. It says, "Dear Perch, I was recently reminded of the time DC published a comic that joked about the Greg Brooks incident. As a result, I rewatched your video on it because I was trying to remember how Mark Waid was involved in the story. The fact that Waid was not only the editor of the book in question, but allegedly involved with the victim, shows that Waid has always had an aura of controversy to him, even in earlier years of the industry. I've been buying a good chunk of Waid's current DC output, with no real plans to stop, mainly because I still can separate the art from the artist. Yet, he continues to say immature shit online, and it just feels like, despite him being one of DC's biggest writers, he is going to do something to get blacklisted from them again. I just get the feeling that within the next 5 years, DC is going to put Waid on their blacklist again for whatever reason. Whether it is him posting something way too far on social media, or somebody puts a scathing hit piece on Waid that digs up stuff that everybody has memory hold. Probably shorter if Trump gets reelected. Thank you." So we're taking bets on Waid's longevity. Well, the fastest way that Waid stops getting work at DC is if the sales slump, and if the sales do slump, it will end in a hurry. Waid is in this odd place because he's not a superstar writer. I mean, arguably he should be, given his work on Kingdom Come and other things that he's done over the course of his career. He did do a really good Captain America in the late 90s. He's had a number of hits throughout his life. He does have weird skeletons. I mean, he's got kind of two problems. One, he does have very weird skeletons in the closet from either people he's worked with, or people, certainly the Greg Brooks incident, or if you're talking about kind of people in comic shops he's gone to. He runs, and Hot, I think, undersells a little bit of what's going on. It's more he runs dumb. And I don't say that to kind of just casually insult the guy. It's just, there are times in your career, like, for example, all of you, I'm sure for many of you who went to college, you went and did crazy things in college, and then you go out and get a legit job, and then you realize that some of the things you did in college, you probably can't do anymore now that you've got a real job. Your job's not going to tolerate that kind of stuff. And Waid is one of those people who has this kind of continual track record of, not like the kind of skeletons in the closet that, Warren Ellis had. And I know many of you are still of the, what Ellis continues to be the fascinating case of he did nothing wrong, he did lots of things wrong, depending on who you're talking to. But regardless, let's take right or wrong out of it and put instead leaving enough ammunition for somebody who wants to do you in to, shoot and not miss. And I think Waid has a lot of stuff in his past that, isn't, it isn't the most egregious of those, but certainly if you take the time and you stack it all up, it gets weird in a hurry. And I think it is a short jump from valiant defender of women to sex pest. And I think there are plenty of stories in Waid's past that can get him there if people were so inclined to get him there. The problem is Mark Waid isn't getting the Netflix Castlevania deals that Ellis is getting. He's not getting kind of the bigger work. And so as a target, he's kind of a boring target. I mean, you see some of the stuff going on with Neil Gaiman right now. And there again, you may or may not believe what's being printed there, but what's being printed there is strange enough. And Gaiman has enough of a history, if you go all the way back to the 90s, of some pretty, screwed up behavior, that it's not outside the realm of possibility that at some point somebody's, this was going to happen. You knew that a lot of people were predicting this would come for Gaiman sooner or later. It wound up being a lot later than people expected. With Waid, there's no more there to really go at. So if you're gonna take him down, you're taking him down as somebody who's kind of in the later stages of career in comics. And I mean, it's just that's not compelling for a lot of people really to dig into and make a big fuss out of it. Otherwise, you could collect up enough of the crazy ass stories from his past and do something with it. But well, why? There's just starts to be who are you pleasing here? And YouTubers doing little exposés won't do it. It's got to be more of the normie crowd going, hey, this stuff that he's done, it's really not okay. And then I think you get there. So the social media stuff's a whole other realm where what seems to be happening there is fewer people are getting canceled and fewer people are caring. So it's kind of one of those things of, if you're going to say something screwed up and weird on social media, if your political candidate didn't win or whatever it happens to be, most people are chalking it up to, I don't know, I kind of like how people feel about somebody going, hey, I've posted something really clever and smart on Facebook. Like that, nobody cares. It's like, what your grandma is using Facebook now. So does anybody care about Facebook? It's just, it no longer feels like anything worth dealing with. And that's how a lot of social media stuff feels. Waid spazzing out on social media about Trump voters. It's like, I mean, cool. But it cuts both ways. It's also the people who are spazzing out about, hey, do you realize what Comicsgate's up to these days? It's like, nobody cares. The drama over the Eric July versus the various people he's feuding with, like nobody cares anymore. It's like it's a tired argument. You see these threads, and every now and then somebody tags me into something, and they're like, "Can you believe that this is going on between Eric July and this guy or that guy?" And it's like, I don't know. Does anybody? Who cares? It's like a couple dozen people seem to care these days about that whole drama. It just doesn't. It doesn't have the interest. It's got all the feelings of the Monday Night Wars years after WCW was purchased and extinct. It's like it's just hard to get up any kind of fucks about that situation anymore. The people who like those comics are buying those comics. The people who don't like them are not buying them, and they're doing little slap fights on Twitter. But I don't know. It's not really changing any hearts of anyone, and I think a lot of that's the case with Waid. Waid can post lots of crazy shit, and the people he offends are be like, well, I'm offended by this. But the people who were like, haha, way to stick it to those Republicans. Just all of it feels exhausted. My guess is the Mark Waid run will end with, his run just not doing great numbers and, doesn't really move the needle in any direction. And, people just kind of nope out, move on with their lives. That's how it feels to me. I suspect we're going to get to there. It just doesn't. I would love for Mark Waid to have a terrific run on Justice League. Dan Mora being paired with him, those two clearly know how to work together, and I'm hoping for a good run because God knows we could all use a good run of anything. So let's see it. Let's have that really great Justice League run. But I don't. It's not something that really feels like it's going to move the needle in comics in any substantial way. I mean, let's say you get a really great Mark Waid, Dan Mora run on Justice League. Is that comic going to start selling over 100,000 copies? I doubt it. And if it's not selling over 100,000 copies, does anyone care enough to really either attack or dismiss him? So it just feels like at some point, like he'll do a run and he'll do like 2 years of a run, and then DC will do it's kind of like Jason Aaron's Avengers run. It's like it was there, stuff happened, they promoted some of it, and then he left it, and we moved on to the next hot writer at the time. And it feels like that's what's going to happen with Waid. It's like, maybe Jason Aaron gets to do Justice League. Who knows? But that's how it all feels to me. So I don't predict any kind of big seismic event, any kind of big inciting event where the torches come out for Waid. Maybe, but I tend to doubt it. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think social media is going to do that guy in? Is that what do you predict here? Anyway, I don't know. I see this kind of being a non-issue. Let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen. I know it's a boring answer, but I think it's a truthful one. It doesn't feel like much moves the needle in any direction with Waid. And so, I mean, I don't even think it's really he gets blacklisted. I think he just gets kind of sailed into oblivion, but your mileage may vary. Let me know in the comments below, like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.